question makes a lot of sense because everyone's using a different terminology here. For us, technically speaking, I would say I would look at software-defined automation in three different angles. First dimension is applications, virtual applications.
Okay.
For example, virtual PLC that can run on different hardware devices. So it's kind of a hardware-software decoupling thing.
Sure.
To allow for the maximum flexibility of where things make the most sense to run on. That's the first angle, virtual applications. Then, secondly, a kind of software infrastructure layer, because if you have all these virtual applications and you think of a global setup,
Sure.
then you need to be able to deploy, to update, to maintain this in a professional manner. Think of a global setup, thousands of applications, and now you have a V2. Or V3, V4, V5.
Yeah.
How do you know which version is running on which side and how to do update in a professional way and how to do all this, how to orchestrate? That's the second dimension.
Sure.
And the third dimension is how things are being engineered, the automation solution engineered. And this is where we also see big change or big trends towards a more IT-like approach, we call it.
Yeah.
Others call it automation software engineering. So meaning from the workflow wise, we take the best from the software development space that is proven and OTify it, bring it to the OT space. That's the three dimensions.
Yeah.
Then if you want to reduce to one sentence, I would say software-defined automation is ultimately the basis for kind of the next generation of automation.
Yeah.
And also it is the necessary foundation lever to implement industrial AI at scale. Not talking about single POCs of AI, but rather to scale it in a professional manner. For this, you need these three dimensions that I mentioned before. And then, last but not least, due to this new nature and the big jump in technology, it's also a huge change management program for the industry, which is touching more the cultural aspects of it, you know?
Right.
Because change resistance and adoption is probably the biggest hurdle, when it comes to increasing the adoption rate of this. I mentioned the three dimensions.
Yeah.
One is this infrastructure level.
Okay.
And there our product, our system is called Industrial Edge.
Yeah.
That's super important, and think of it like the mobile phone. You can let it run and you can have your applications, be it our Siemens applications, like the virtual PLC that we offer as Siemens. You can have that find it in our app store, you can buy it, you can deploy it to your site, to a machine, whatever, let it run. But there's also a big change here because it's an open ecosystem. So anyone can write applications and sell applications via our marketplace. So you could write an application and sell it just like, think of Android or Apple, you can write an application and sell it to customers via our marketplace.
Right.
So that's a new thing, I would say. And the usage of this is, to oversimplify things, usage and the benefit is how to keep track of all these applications worldwide that you're having, how to manage them over a certain life cycle, how to diagnose things if things are not running, all this kind of things. That's one of the big benefits. Then the second one was this virtual applications like virtual PLCs, etc. I touched it. And then the third dimension we haven't covered yet in our talk is the engineering space, because how is the machine or the line now being engineered in the software-defined automation space?
Yeah.
So there we have, of course, we come from this installed base with TIA Portal, Step 7 Manager, etc. That's great products. And now we have a new kid on the block in addition to TIA Portal, which is called Thematic AX. And this one is about bringing the best proven methods from software development space towards OT. So if you are coming, like I came originally not from the automation space. I came from signal processing, digital signal processing, digital communications. And if you're from this kind of areas, you are used to write unit tests, have continuous integration pipelines to ensure that you never break anything that was working before.
Right.
And AX is designed to fully support this out of the box. It has all the interfaces are open. It has command line interfaces. All the information is stored in human readable text-based files. So you have always the control about and can manipulate all this inside of our environment, but also outside the environment. And this is super important, not only because of the workflows that I just mentioned, but also because in these times, the AI can pick on those things. If I as a human can read the file, the AI can read it as well. And if I as a human can use the command line interface, the AI does a pretty good job in doing this as well. So in a way, it's also leveraging all those AI offerings that exist today. Our good position is that we understand OT completely, of course, because we come from this space.
Yeah.
But we also understand the IT folks, and we can help to create this bridge. Because because companies need to create this bridge in order to fully capitalize on, for example, all the data that is sitting in production, right? You cannot have this data all being siloed only in the OT, not accessible.
Sure.
But if you want to make the data accessible, automatically you have to take care of security. Because also what you don't want is that some hacker comes into your system and kills your production.
Yeah.
So in a way, we have to help creating this bridge. This is also what we actively on it. We do also some consulting, or we engage in these conversations, helping our customers here. And especially if you think about, you mentioned before the VPLC topic, then all of a sudden the IT is managing a critical part of the infrastructure the OT is sitting on.
Yeah.
But also on the other hand, IT departments are happy that we come in and finally they are like, okay, now we understand what you're talking about. And now it's not some, I don't know, some weird OT-ish equipment anymore. Now we can manage it properly to take care of all the things IT is good for, right? And so in a way, we have to create this bridge. And this is also why SEA is kind of sitting at this intersection of OT and IT in so many aspects. If the production doesn't run for half a day or a few hours, that's a nightmare. And depends on your application. It is can either be a big loss of not being able to produce some of the goods, or it can even damage your plant. There's a lot of applications. Look at steel plants or whatever.
Sure.
If production stops suddenly, it might even damage your equipment, and that's expensive. Also, maybe on a side note, I had this interesting conversation when it comes to workflows. Someone was pointing out that it's weird. People develop mobile applications that cost $3, and they use unit testing or these quality topics, to implement this. But if you look at equipment for millions of dollars, steel, moving parts that can kill people, no one kind of today is using unit tests or this quality stuff that the IT is used to use. And then the question is why? And should it be this way, or are things changing? And we see things are changing. Had a lot of interesting conversations at the fair as well. With, a lot of people also on the panel, but also besides that, and we see things are changing. However, adoption in the industry takes years.